Aloha and good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Hawaii News Now Digital Center. I'm Dylan Acheta alongside our Mark Carpenter. We want to start with some breaking news out of central Oahu this afternoon, where a brush fire is impacting traffic along Kamehameha Highway. This news came out about half an hour ago. We do know that this is happening near the Carson Thought Bridge in Wahiawa. There are lanes that are being contraflowed. We don't know much about this fire just yet, including how big it is or how many acres have burned, but we will definitely keep an eye on it and bring you the latest on your H&N digital platforms.
And in our other top story, the man accused in a deadly Waikiki murder has been indicted for second-degree charges. Newly released court documents reveal more information on the events that led to the death of a 21-year-old man last Tuesday. Police said the suspect, 18-year-old Lionel Winebush, was one of 11 men who drove from Tantalus to Waikiki to retaliate against another group for a previous incident involving machetes. According to court documents, at one point during the fight, one of the members in the other group, Tony Taki, tried to run away but ended up getting caught. That's when police say Winebush allegedly stabbed him with a 6-inch dagger-type knife. Another suspect allegedly beat Taki with a bat. Taki was later pronounced dead. No other arrests have been made. Winebush's preliminary hearing is scheduled for 1:30. And a man is recovering following an apparent stabbing in Kaimuki. Police were called to the corner of Kaimuki and 3rd Avenues around 4 this morning after reports a man in his late 30s was stabbed in the chest. It's unclear what kind of weapon was used, but he was taken to the hospital in serious condition. No word if anyone was arrested. At least 2 nearby residents told us this morning that police often frequent the property that was being investigated.
Witnesses described the scene of yesterday's shark bite at Hawaii Island's Anaiho'omalu Bay that sent a man to the hospital. He was bit around 8:15 Tuesday morning, reportedly by a 12-foot-long tiger shark. Authorities said the man, who is a 68-year-old Waikoloa resident, used a diving knife to scare off the shark, and he was released from its jaws. Paddleboarders nearby helped to pull him out of the water, and once on shore, witnesses said the man was coherent and responsive, despite injuries to his lower back and rear.
The shark got a good chunk of his left side of his back rear, and he kind of went on and, tried to get rid of the shark a little bit and got his fingers cut up, razor-like cuts on his fingers also, but kind of like real deep cuts. But the chunk out of his left rear was the major one.
The man was taken to a hospital and his condition improved to stable. He is expected to survive after being flown to Oahu for further treatment.
In international news, the U.S. is preparing to send a key missile defense system to Ukraine after the capital of Kyiv was hit with another Russian strike. Skylar Henry has more.
CBS News has learned that the Pentagon is poised to provide at least one Patriot missile battery to Ukraine.
We recognize that with the air threat that Russia poses to Ukraine, that air defense continues to be a priority topic of discussion.
The Advanced Long-Range Air Defense System is highly effective at intercepting ballistic and cruise missiles, like those that have destroyed key infrastructure across the country.
We'll continue to look at ways that we can best support Ukraine to protect their population.
Just this morning, Russian forces launched a drone strike in the capital city of Kyiv, causing damage to at least 5 buildings. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says all 13 Iranian-made drones were shot down and no lives were lost, thanks to the nation's air defense system and sirens. Ukraine has been pleading with the U.S. for more assistance to help the nation defend itself from Russian rockets. In the southern city of Kherson, which was liberated from Russia last month, the Russian military attacked this regional administration building on the central square. The U.S. believes Iran is helping Russia in its efforts. It's expected to take up to 8 weeks of training in Europe for the Ukrainians to begin operating the Patriot missile system, but a full 10 months to reach full operating capability. White House approval could come as soon as this week. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
The Federal Reserve reinforced its fight against inflation Wednesday by raising its key interest rate. It's the 7th rate hike this year, and more are likely to come. This one is a smaller hike than the ones announced in the past 4 meetings. That's because inflation is showing signs of easing. The Fed reiterated that it thinks sharply higher rates are still needed to tame inflation. The central bank boosted its benchmark rate a half point to a range of 4.25% to 4.5%, which is its highest level in 15 years. Though lower than its previous 3/4 point hikes, the latest move will further increase the costs of many consumer and business loans at the risk of a recession. Stephen Twitch Boss, a dancer and longtime DJ for the Ellen DeGeneres Show, has died. That's according to the Los Angeles County coroner. No cause of his death was provided. His wife, Allison Holker Boss, issued a statement to People magazine calling Twitch, quote, the best husband and father and an inspiration to his fans. He was born in Montgomery, Alabama, earning his lifelong nickname as a child because he couldn't sit still. Boss appeared on TV dance competitions like So You Think You Can Dance and Star Search, where he ended up as a semi-finalist. He was hired to work on the Ellen DeGeneres Show in 2014, where he stayed and eventually became an executive producer until the show ended earlier this year. Boss was just 40 years old. Besides his wife, he leaves behind 3 young children. Adding to the tributes and memorials pouring in, Ellen DeGeneres tweeted about Twitch's death Wednesday. She shared a photo of them hugging backstage, and DeGeneres said, quote, I'm heartbroken. Twitch was pure love and light. He was my family, and I loved him with all my heart. I will miss him. Please send your love and support to Allison and his beautiful children, Wesley, Maddox, and Zaya.
Troubling news out of Florida. A police officer is recovering from a near-deadly overdose following fentanyl exposure. A warning, this video may be disturbing to some. Here's Annika Hope.
Get advised possible exposure.
Tavares police said they're releasing this difficult footage of an officer who is now doing okay as a warning about how dangerous fentanyl can be. Courtney Sullivan with the Tavares Police Department said Officer Courtney Bannock found drugs on a passenger during a traffic stop Monday night.
She said she just barely opened it, saw that it was, narcotics, closed it quickly.
Sullivan said Bannock wore gloves as she always did. The officers agreed to test the substance back at the department, trying to avoid exposure because it was windy.
Next thing you know, she was trying to key up on the radio, and you could hear in the radio traffic almost like she was choking.
We just launched. It sounded weird.
Sullivan said the officers found Bannock in and out of consciousness. They got Bannock out of the car and ran to get the emergency medication Narcan.
A small window to get to the hospital and to get the care that you need.
Get an ambulance. You're good, Courtney. You're good. She's breathing. Hey, stay with me, okay?
The body camera footage shows Officer Bannock reviving, even talking.
It's a dollar bill.
Not long after, she's passed out again.
They administered a third Narcan.
Officer Bannock survived.
Biggest thing that Officer Bannock in general really wants others to take away from this, so that these drugs are dangerous. They're dangerous for not only yourself, but others surrounding you.
Our chief investigative reporter, Lynn Kawano, has a special series of reports airing this week. She sat down with our Jonathan Jared Soppy to talk about it.
You have a special series that is giving us access to something we have not seen. First Hawaii crew to see Saguaro Correctional Facility in Arizona, where so many inmates from Hawaii are housed. How'd you get access to that, and what do we see in this series of special reports that start today?
Yeah, we were the first television news crew to be in Saguaro, and that facility was built in 2007. It currently houses 1,000 Hawaii inmates. It has been up to 1,500, 1,800 even, so it is a big place for Hawaii prisoners to go to. We were able to get access because during all the tours, right, we were given tours of OCCC, we were given tours of all these other jails and places in Hawaii where we keep our inmates, and I said, I'd like to get inside Saguaro. The Hawaii News Now has never been in since it was built in 2007, and I want to see it, and I want to talk to some of our inmates up there. And the Public Safety Department, we worked together, and we went up there specifically for the Makahiki celebration, which is the start of the rainy season. It was a big deal in Native Hawaiian in culture and religion and practices, and we were able to go and see that, and it is just a beautiful ceremony. But there's also a hard news aspect of this. A lot of people don't like that we send our inmates away so far away, 3,000 miles away. We need to build a facility that can house them here, is basically what the advocates want.
And talk about how inmates are able, like you mentioned, participating in ceremonies, but other ways to stay connected with their loved ones here on the islands. What are ways they go about doing that?
Traditionally, it was telephone, right? They all wait in line for the telephone or they sign it out. Now, they do have access to iPads, and they are allowed to do video calls. Not all the time. They have to pay for them still, just like they did with phone calls, but they do have access to that most days, and it makes it a lot easier for them to see their family, their children, their loved ones. But again, it's not as good as being here, right? Being at home. But I will tell you this, Jonathan, what's so incredibly surprising to me is that a lot of those inmates like it up there. They actually prefer to be there, especially the ones who have been in some of our jails here that are overcrowded, that, equipment doesn't work. The ACOs, the corrections officers, they're overworked. Some of them are working 32 hours, so they're not happy either. And so the inmates in Saguaro tell me they actually really like it there. If only they could take Saguaro and move it here with all the programs they have and all the activities that they have, they would be a lot happier. It would be more conducive for rehabilitation.
And those reasons you just listed off, those are the main reasons why we do outsource our inmates, correct?
It is a lot cheaper, believe it or not, for taxpayers. It's cheaper to house them in Saguaro than it is to house them here. Obviously, this is in the middle of the desert. When we're driving along, it's like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? I felt like a 5-year-old. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Because it's just desert. It's just desolate. And then all of a sudden, this massive, set of buildings show up. And it's so cheap out there. And it's cheaper to feed them. It's cheaper to house them. It's cheaper to do everything out there for Hawaii taxpayers. We do have to fly them back and forth, but it's still easier to do that while they're in Saguaro. And that's one of the main reasons. But also, we can't accommodate them. Where are we going to put 1,000 more prisoners?
And go ahead and run us through what each report is going to focus on. Again, they start tonight on Hawaii News. Now, if you can't watch it tonight, you can watch it on your H&N digital platform shortly after. So each story is very different.
Yeah, the first story is just about Saguaro. It's an introduction. It shows you about the facility. It shows you inside the facility. We talk to some of the inmates there, and they tell us why they actually prefer being up there. Not because they're in Arizona, but because the facility can accommodate them so much better, so much easier, so much more space. They're not overcrowded. They talk a lot about that. But also we talk to the Oversight Commission and the Oversight Committee, and they discuss, why Saguaro is just so much easier for inmates to rehabilitate. The programs there teach them so that when they come out, because most of these guys are going to come out. We have to remember that. Most of them are going to come out and be our neighbors, and they give them a lot of the tools at Saguaro so that when they come out, they can find a job easier. They can get to work. They can do things, get rehabilitation. The first one airs tonight, and that one is discussing Saguaro. The second one is about OCCC. What about OCCC, right? 9 years we've been talking about a new OCCC, $500 million. What is going on with that? Why haven't we been able to do that? So it explains, and I talk about the problems that they have. Part 3 is the Makahiki celebration, and you saw that one. That's just beautiful. It's
Beautiful
magical.
shot. Yeah.
These inmates, it's all inmates putting it together, practicing, doing everything for months to make this ceremony special. And then part 4, which is going to air on the weekend, that's the Greyhound rescue. And these Greyhound adoption programs, they're so great because these Greyhounds, they chase rabbits, right? That's what they're taught to. That's what they were born to do. When they go to this farm, they're on the racetrack. Well, when they retire, they're not adoptable because they don't know anything but to chase the rabbit. So that part, that's the 4th part in our series. These inmates are training them so that they can be adoptable.
Also, beautifully shot piece, because I did get to see the preview of that one as well. All right, Lynn Kawano special series starting tonight. Again, it will be posted on your H&N digital platforms. And in case you didn't know, saguaro, it's a cactus. It's the big ones you see with arms in Arizona. That's what it's named after. Tricky name to say. Tricky name to say.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Lynn, so much.
Of course.
Another chapter in a decades-long debate, how to mitigate flood risk along the Alawi Canal. Jolani Martinez has more on the proposals currently on the table.
The risk is too high, so I don't know why it's still included in Alternative 2B and Alternative 5. I think you guys should be looking at another way to do it.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is proposing a wall 6 feet high to run the length of the Alawi Canal to mitigate a 20 to 50-year flood. But opponents worry about environmental problems. Some say it would block the view, and a canoe coach said it would make his job difficult.
So when there's obstructions to the sidelines of the canal, be it from the Alawi Bridge that the city is proposing, or walls or raised berms along the edge of the canal, that impacts the usability of the canal from a coaching perspective.
So it could be a 6-foot wall, or it could be, there are ways that we can, work with the sponsor there. We could look at something like a 3-foot walking path and a 3-foot wall on top of that, right? Or you can look at berms in certain areas. And so
other residents are still against the proposed detention basins, which would collect runoff in places such as Manoa Valley District Park. Some are asking for visual renderings.
At the very least, you have to sell it. Right now, I don't know anything about it, so that's why my opposition is so far uncontradicted. But so I'm just telling you that if that's one of your cornerstones, that's going to be difficult.
The project's planners say everything is still up for discussion and try to explain how they would try to minimize the impacts.
And move the water further Makai, underneath the Kahaloa Bridge to where the existing baseball fields are. And we would try to lower the elevation of those baseball fields and put up a series of berms, and the berms would create what we call kind of stadium seating. So if people were watching a game or something like that, people could be up on those areas watching.
Jolani Martinez, Hawaii News Now.
Over in New Zealand, a unique plan to stop future generations from smoking or starting smoking is taking shape as lawmakers have passed one of the world's strictest smoking laws. Tina Kraus reports from London.
The ayes are 76, the noes are 43. The motion is agreed to.
New Zealand's parliament has agreed to put a stop to smoking.
There is no good reason to allow a product to be sold that kills half the people that use it.
A new law imposes a lifetime ban on young people buying cigarettes, making it illegal for anyone currently aged 14 or younger to purchase tobacco.
This bill will create generational change, and it'll leave a legacy of better health for our youth.
The minimum age to buy cigarettes will keep rising year after year. So by 2050, for example, 40-year-olds will be too young to purchase cigarettes. Retailers who break the law could face fines of more than $90,000, but critics warn the strict rules could fuel an unregulated illegal market for tobacco. New Zealand's health minister says many have kicked the habit over the past year as the proposal to extinguish smoking nationwide gained momentum.
It will save thousands of lives and billions for the future health system.
Health officials say the number of smokers in New Zealand has already fallen to the lowest rate yet, at 8%. They hope the world-first legislation will make the country smoke-free by 2025. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Let's take a live look outside now over Honolulu. It is a beautiful day outside. It's about 80 degrees. Tonight's sunset is happening at 5:51, but there could be some rain shaping up for this weekend. Let's toss it over to our Guy Hoggy.
Now, we've got a gorgeous day ahead. Not much rain in the forecast today or for the better part of tomorrow, actually. But by tomorrow afternoon, this front drops in. Kauai could get some thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon, and then that front moves across the state. Look at that heavy dose of rain. That's early Friday morning. So Friday looks to be the wettest day over the next couple of days. Then slowly, the front kind of dissipates on Saturday. And then on Sunday, another stronger, juicier front drops in with more widely scattered showers. And then by Sunday night into Monday morning, we'll see some heavy downpours as well. And then slowly, it's going to pull away. But Tuesday looks still pretty wet. And then Wednesday looks like things finally clear up. So here's your 7-day forecast. Get ready for some wet weather tomorrow night and Friday. And then this weather is going to kind of clear up by Saturday, and another juicier front Sunday, Monday, and to some extent Tuesday. So wet weather on the way.
That is some entertaining video that's circulating online. A dog in Wales was caught up in a different kind of puppy accident. Here's Ginny Mose.
Dogs tend to be protruding passengers,
taking the steering wheel. Mostly in movies or books, but here's one for the books, the dog that crashed the car. Sure, we've done jokey pieces about dogs driving.
Look, I know you have a dog license, but do you have a learner's permit? Do any of you have learner's permits?
And a decade ago in New Zealand,
just when you thought you've seen it all,
they tried to teach several dogs to drive, even shift gears.
Gear. Good.
But the border collie who jumped behind the wheel of this Jeep parked in a driveway in Wales didn't take any lessons. That's the dog's owner who tried in vain to stop the Jeep. At least,
that shaggy dog just stole my car.
The border collie didn't commit a felony. The mishap was captured on a security camera belonging to Sean Waller, whose car was damaged, but he says, "We're not mad at all. Accidents happen." The dog's owner made the pooch relinquish the wheel. Asked about insurance, Waller told CNN, "I doubt the dog is named on the policy. Perhaps we'll have to claim through the pet insurance instead. But before you raise this canine's premiums, consider that he didn't exhibit a single one of David Letterman's top 10 signs your dog is a bad driver."
Always taking eyes off road to lick himself.
Ginny Mose, CNN, New York.
Oh boy.
The good thing is no one was hurt.
Yes, that is the good thing. Mark, do you have dogs?
I do. I have a little mixed Pomeranian.
Lock up your keys.
Yeah, she could not drive.
Lock up your keys. Wow. Well, let's shift gears to some good news now. Take a listen to this, everyone.
Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh, dashing through the snow.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Yes,
oh, what
this
fun it
is
to ride
the University of Illinois. This is something that they do every holiday year, and apparently it hit a milestone. Their Dial a Carol hotline has served 5,000 people. Of course, this is all students sitting in a room, and whoever calls that hotline, that number there, you see it, is sing them a carol on the phone.
What a concept.
I know, right? I imagine that phone room gets very noisy with a lot of people singing. Today is actually the last day that the hotline will be open, but normally it's open for 24 hours a day, 1 week in December. And again, this is all put on by the students of the University of Illinois. Interesting concept there for sure.
Yeah, so we have the number up, so there is still some time to see if you can have something sung to you this holiday season. Very, very cool.
Or just call the newsroom and Mark will sing to you.
Oh, God. Yeah, we'll be passing it along to all the producers. All right, now what's also trending online, another option for gluten-free Oreo lovers. Mint-flavored gluten-free Oreos are about to be released. Previously, they were only available in regular or double stuff. The minty Oreos are expected to be available in January. I know it is a new entrant to the Oreo family, but Mint, clearly king of the Oreos.
You know, when it comes to Girl Scout cookies as well, I'm a Thin Mint fan.
Yes.
So I can see this, but I also understand people who say, "Oh, it tastes like toothpaste." I don't think so.
Get out of here with that. Mint Oreos
I'm
are
a Mint
elite.
fan. I am definitely a Mint fan. Let's take you outside one more time for a beautiful look out over Honolulu. The sky is clear with some clouds there, but be prepared for some showers happening later this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Dylan Ancheta alongside our Mark Carpenter, who is back at 4 o'clock.